Hello, my name is Pete Ashby from the St George's House staff team, and thank you so much for looking at this video on our March 15-16 leadership conversation on developing a top-performing board. The idea is, as you scroll down the agenda for the conversation, I just want to capture some of the main themes we'll be exploring. I put them under 4 words, each beginning with a C, and the first word is combination. And we engage with this in our opening session just after 6 o'clock on the Wednesday in the Vickers Hall, when, as we always do in these conversations, we ask you to break into small groups and in this case discuss 2 key questions that we engage with. And the focus is on the combination between the chair and chief executive, crucial to any board. It's something, it took me some years of working with boards to really appreciate the significance of this combination. A top-performing board, the chair and CEO need to be close. There are dangers, however, sometimes becoming too close. I've seen some boards where the non-execs and sometimes the execs can feel excluded by the chair and CEO being too close. So that combination and the balance in that combination is crucial to the board. How the chair exercises their role as convener of the non-execs, how the chair and CEO manage the agenda so everyone is in on it, whilst they provide the centre of gravity of that board. They ensure a proper equilibrium. It's the key relationship, and that's why we want to make sure in this conversation that chair-CEO relationship is really at the centre. We start with it, we come back to it. And I know some of the chairs and CEOs coming in on it. That for you is a crucial thing we're going to be opening up. The second C word is challenge. Here again, it's a much discussed word when people are looking at boards, and what's interesting is how the challenge relationship changes between a low performing and a top performing board. And the real difficulty is when a board has come from being a low performer. So the NEDs have known they've had to root out some hidden underperformance, and their challenging of execs has been pretty upfront, sometimes robust at best. Execs would say pretty aggressive at times and pretty unrelenting, and a necessary part of driving up performance. But when you have a board that is high performing, the knack with a challenge relationship is to move it more to a self-challenge relationship. So the CEO will feel comfortable to come along and say to the board, I'm not happy with this one in the last quarter. We dropped the ball there a bit. We missed that one. We're looking at that one again. The execs feel they can be open in their self-criticism. And indeed, when a non-exec director comes in a challenging way, the challenge might be more to the whole board. It's how we got it wrong. We dropped the ball. We need to learn from this. It's a different type of challenge relationship because they can take a lot more for granted from each other. And it's a real tricky issue for a board to let go of old habits, which are the adversarial challenge habits often, and move towards a collective, shared, we self-challenge habit. And that's why the C word, the challenge word, is a second major theme of our conversation. The third one, I think, should be the term conversation itself. Here again, there's a terrific contrast. I would say the low-performing board, a typical agenda, will be dominated by presentations. Often by senior members of staff who will come and talk at the board, and non-execs will sit there, arms crossed, with slide after slide of figures. Sometimes when I've been there with the board and said to the chair, ask what they want from you before the next presentation, and the chair will say, what do you want? And the senior manager will say, I've got my 35 slides. I've just been told to tell you what we are doing. A high-performing board is very careful to make sure slides will be circulated beforehand and there is space and time for discussion, for thinking out loud, for sharing ideas, for moving thinking on, and indeed for healthy disagreement among the board. Crucial in the conversation is the informal nature of conversations in between board meetings. So if a non-exec director sees something the figures they're not happy with, they might phone up the chief financial officer, discuss it with them, and come to the board and say, by the way, Roger, Alice, and I have been discussing this, and we think we maybe need to shift our approach here. They might come together, non-exec and exec, with a joint idea because of the conversation they've been having in between the board meeting. It's a different dynamic you build up to the board where conversations are concluded often and not just started as part of a ritual between non-execs and execs. The final C word after combination and challenge and the conversation, the final C word absolutely is candor. There is openness. There is a real relationship. There's no implication on our part that the top performing board is a big happy family board when you spend the whole day sitting around smiling at each other. It's a tough exchange of ideas. It's a real desire to get inside the difficult issues and make sure that there is open exchange about those areas where you're not happy with performance. But it's on the basis, as everyone looks around that table, you know everyone else there has a key role to play in your ongoing success. When you are tough on each other, you are building each other up. And I think what's really, really interesting is the top performing boards will tend to have the scrappy, difficult conversations. And they'll come away afterwards, they'll know it was hard. And they made sure they stuck with it. The low performer, when it gets tough, the CEO or maybe the HR director will say, well, take that one offline now. In the top performing board, the chair will say, or the CEO will say, let's stick at it a bit longer. Then one or two of us will take it away. And then when we come back to the next board, you need to be satisfied that we've got a real outcome from this. Fascinating set of issues. We're really looking forward to going through them in March. Let me just say very finally, we're very conscious of your time, the people coming in on this. Diaries are a nightmare. We think about this very carefully. It's a 6 o'clock start for those who are coming straight for the session. If you haven't got time to come to the service in the chapel before, that means if you're in London for business on the 15th, you can get the 4:25 from Paddington. In Windsor and Eton Central at 7 minutes past 5. Henry VIII Gate, 3 minutes away. Check in at St George's House. Come up for air. Drink in your hand in the Vicar's Hall, 6 o'clock. No problem. So thoughtfully timed, I hope. We work hard while we're there. We still have a late night tour of the chapel. We have some very free-flowing conversations, very high trust, very open. We'll make sure we can cover a lot of ground and we finish on the dot at 3:30 on the 16th. So thoughtfully timed. We'd love you in on it. It'll be one of our most significant leadership conversations so far. And thank you very much for your time now. Thank you so much.